9-6, the distance and midpoint formulas. First, we're going to look at the distance formula. And the distance formula is a way to find the distance between 2 points. If I want to find how far it is from point 1 to point 2, we use the distance formula. And the distance formula is given by the formula in red at the bottom, and it is equal to x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared, and then take the square root of the whole thing. This is actually a form of the Pythagorean theorem, and x1 and x2 are the coordinates of the point 1, and x2 and y2 are the coordinates of point 2. So we're simply going to substitute into the distance formula equation the coordinates of the points that you're given, and then we're going to do some math and simplify, and we will find the distance between those 2 points. So we want to find the distance between point M, which is at 5, -4, and point N, which is at -1, 3. So first, always write down the distance formula, which is x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. Now we will substitute into the distance formula. x2 is -1 minus 5 squared plus 3 minus -4 squared. x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. Again, simplifying things just a bit. -1 minus 5 is going to be -6 squared plus, and 3 minus -4 is going to be 7 squared. Simplifying things yet again, -6 squared gives us 36, and 7 squared is 49. When we add those together, we get 85. So the distance between points M and N is the square root of 85. And we're actually going to use a calculator to get an answer. And it's about 9.2 units between points M and N. In this problem, we're going to be required to find the perimeter of the shape, the perimeter of this triangle. We're not given the lengths of the sides, we're given the coordinates of the 3 vertices. We have to find the distance between 3 sets of points. So first, the distance from A to B is going to be x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. So we're going to do -2 minus 3 squared plus 3 minus 0 squared. Simplifying this, -2 minus 3 is going to be -5 squared plus 3 minus 0 is going to be 3 squared. Simplifying one more step, -5 squared is going to be 25, and 3 squared is going to be 9. 25 plus 9 is 34. Put in the d's, and the square root of 34 is roughly 5.8 units. We want to find the distance between B and C. We want to find the distance from B to C, the second side of the triangle. And that's going to be the square root of 3 minus -2 squared plus 0 minus -4 squared. 3 minus -2 is going to be 5. And 0 minus -4 is going to be 4. So we have 5 squared. D is the square root of 5 squared plus 4 squared. And now we simplify 5 squared and 4 squared, and we get 16. And 25 and 16 is 41. And finally, the distance for this side. And finally, the distance for this side is the square root of 41, which is 6.4. Now we have to find the distance from A to C, the third side. And that's going to be -2 minus -2 squared plus 3 minus -4 squared. Simplifying inside the radical symbol, -2 minus -2 leaves us with 0 squared, plus, and 3 minus -4 leaves us with 7 squared. And that's simplifying. That's going to be the distance is going to be the square root of 49. So that distance is going to be 7 units. To find the perimeter of this shape, we're going to add all three sides together, 5.8, 6.4, and 7. And when we add them together, we end up with 19.2 units for the perimeter of this shape. The other half of this lesson requires us to find the midpoint. And the midpoint gives you the coordinates of the midpoint of the line that passes through points 1 and point 2. So if we go back to the first board, we're going to look at this picture, and we have D is the distance between points 1 and 2. The midpoint will give us the coordinates of the point that's halfway between points 1 and 2. So we're going to use the formula right below the midpoint formula, which is x1 plus x2 divided by 2, and that'll give us the midpoint of the x coordinates. And y1 plus y2 divided by 2, that will give us the midpoint of the y coordinates. So let's try using the midpoint formula. So we want to find the midpoint between points A and B. So we're going to add the two x coordinates together, 6 plus 2, divide that by 2. That's x1 plus x2 over 2. And the y coordinate is going to be 1 plus -5 over 2. That's y1 plus y2. Simplifying, 6 plus 2 is 8 over 2. And 1 plus -5 is -4 over 2. Continuing to simplify, 8 divided by 2 is 4, and -4 divided by 2 is -2. So at the bottom in blue, the coordinates of the midpoint of segment AB are 4, -2. Your homework is on page 469, problems 10 through 28, the evens.